Laura. I'm from Disney Latam. And can you please, Nico, Rod, introduce yourself and tell us the project that are you working on?
Hey, my name is Rod. I'm a space systems engineer, and for the last 2.5 years, I've been working on an open source platform for collaborative space missions engineering called Lunco. So, our goal is to provide solutions for space engineers to onboard them into Web3.
Okay, and can you tell us a bit more about the mission about Lunco?
Yep. So, um, my background is in software engineering, and I've been using open source software for many years, and I think that's the right way to create uh, information, to create technologies. Imagine, uh, like once the knowledge is created, it's recreation, creating it for the second time. It's reinventing the wheel, and the thing is that current system incentivizes to store, to protect the knowledge that you created with different patents, with IP, uh, um, not allowing others to use. And the system made sense maybe a while ago, but nowadays with the AI, with the software, uh, and with Web3, we have other mechanisms. So after overall, our goal at Lunco is to lower the cost of space missions by providing open source solutions and onboarding millions into space. So to just make humanity interplanetary species. Now we are focused on collaborative software for engineers, and that's an important part of our strategy as to be able to create high quality open source hardware like satellites, subsystems. You need a reliable medium of exchange and our platform of exchange of information. And right now we are focused on building the platform, though the next steps would be to design open hardware, and there is a demand. So space economy is growing, and more countries, more and more companies join. It's not the race, join the movement, and they're looking for solutions. So our goal. Oh yeah, and I'm highly passionate about open source, but open source has a problem. As it's open, often it's free, so nobody has incentive to pay for it. But if nobody pays for it, then nobody creates it. And yeah, traditional solutions.
No, nobody creates because
Yeah.
they don't have incentives.
Yeah, and
Create.
they just, well, yeah, they don't have incentive, but also from a practical perspective, like people who create have to pay their bills, and it's like they just cannot do that because just they cannot afford it. So traditional system kind of solved that issue with intellectual property and like a patent system, which is great, But now with the Web3, with all the techniques and mechanics like Gitcoin and Givers, we have other ways how to do that, and our mission, after all, is to apply those mechanics to space exploration and provide as many parts of the infrastructure as possible on those public goods, let's say public goods basis, incentivizing uh, knowledge sharing between countries, between companies, aggregation of data from satellites, like
Nice.
all the Web3 stuff.
You mentioned to think that you are working in the platform. Can I ask you in what step of the roadmap are you?
Yep, it's complicated. So, in a sense, I've got to the idea of the platform 11 years ago, but at that point in time, I was not uh, mature enough to start working on that. So it took me 5 years, learning about space, getting in touch with the space folks before I was able to get to a real space company, and then I had to work for a real space company for 4 years before I was able to start Lunka. So in terms of roadmap, there is my personal roadmap that I mean, I've got the idea of the product like 11 years ago. So now we're finally at the stage when we kind of moving. So uh, I've after all, well, I started working full time on Lunka 2.5 years ago. Since the time we have released alpha version, it's pretty early. We have implemented collaborative mode, meaning that several people can do missions together. Uh, it's pretty basic, and now you can do really basic simulations. So now it's more of tool that you can start building content on top of that. We should release the decent version for certain simulations in around 6 months. Um, yep.
Are you using, for example, for the platform is EVM compatible, or are you using what network are you using?
So the platform itself, it's not built on EVM.
Okay.
That's a set of models and simulations that allows you to to design space missions. So that's a very
Okay.
special software for very special cases. But that software is integrated with Web3. So one of our main ideas is so-called NFT blueprints, basically publishing of components and missions designed on chain, creating chains of NFTs referring subsystem to subsystem. And with that, we can introduce different techniques to distribute value across the chain. So our platform is based on traditional software. I mean, it's traditional software by itself, but
Okay.
it's just integrated heavily with the Web3. We are building on top of a game engine Godot, because Godot is open source. It's fully open source. It's MIT license, and the thing is that with space missions, you have to do tons of 3D visualizations. And game engines, they're perfect for interactive simulations. So Godot is super extensible. It's super to integrated with the existing libraries for certain computations, like software for orbital computations. And we do not want to recreate existing open source models, because they already exist. They are proven, and they're like the math there is really, really complicated, and it's really easy to make a mistake. So Godot is unique that it allows to integrate with with that software easily. Yeah, so that's what we are using and how we are building.
And now the platform is working. We can go to your website and try the platform.
Yeah, early alpha version.
Nice.
Alpha.lunko.space.
Okay, okay. And how can you find you in social media?
So just we have links on our website at lunko.space. So we have account on Twitter. It's it's lunkosim. We have account in LinkedIn. So it's pretty easy.
Okay, okay.
Space.
And I have another question for you. What do you think about this side and about
Yeah.
public goods? and to participate because you mentioned that you participate in Gitcoin round in I don't know if you say Giveth.
Yeah. If
And what do you think about that and the other models of funding, of get funding? What do you think?
so that's crucial for us, literally, because like we're building things to grants and donations from bakers on Gitcoin. So that's kind of the fundament, and all of our life comes from that. So I perceive the decentralized space exploration as a part of like as a subset of DeSci projects, and we've raised around 90K since launching grants and donations on Gitcoin and Give us. So kind of uh, that's vital for us. And regarding other mechanisms, so the thing is that there are plenty of options to get grants for space projects, but you have to be in the US or Europe, which is doable. But I mean, I'm Russian, and for me it's a bit hard. But those grants that are different. They're different. I know two projects that have been incubated by European Space Agency, um, and the terms for them, they basically now those projects are kind of closed. So for them, it was really hard to get the funds, and then when they received those grants, they were not able to spend those money on what they need. They had just a list of what could be done, but for the space, for the startup, that's not an option because like at the startup, you have to do tons of things. You have to do marketing, business development,
Yes.
like develop it itself, and
And probably you are like Lunco is a small team.
yeah. So yeah, and of course, like I'm talking about kind of same scale projects, and my main point is that with the uh, comparable amount of resources received from different sources, thanks to this side, we achieved much more with that amount of resources because it was much more efficient, because we were able to utilize resources much more efficiently. Like we're building and growing while other projects have to close, and because of tons of reasons. But one of the reasons is the complexity of the existing system. So DeFi, that's the future. And I've been talking today with a lot of people about all of that. And they just do not know. Well, like people are doing meme coins, and when I started to talk to them about what's going on in this side, like inviting to the hub, they became really happy. I mean, their faces, they changed their perception. And also today I had a conversation with a guy from a very known company. They do really amazing Web3 things. So when I explained that when I told him, oh, we're using your service, like it's crucial in our operations, he said that it's amazing because now like he has a tangible thing to say to people that there are great projects that create great things and that use our service. So for a lot of people, what we are building here in DeSci, that's actually a huge value proposition for their services. So like if we as DeSci community use some of the three services, and if you tell them, hey, we're building like science using your service, they'll be super happy. For a lot of people, it's super important to hear that there are people like us doing something good, not just launching another meme coin and so on. So I'm really bullish on the ecosystem.
Completely.
And I'm really happy, and also I'm really happy that a DeSci community, we have this community hub here at DEF CON. I think it's super important, uh, it's kind of an indicator that we as a community are getting stronger and stronger and stronger because things that we are doing, people who are not in this, I think we are crazy, like literally.
Yes, yes,
And we got that we are here, so that's amazing. I'm really bullish.
yes, and if because I hope this video can go and be watching by other scientists, other projects like Web2 projects. If you can give them an advice to have a to be successful in this side, what should be your advice?
Start using wallets like MetaMask on a daily basis. Just start using it. Get maybe I don't know, like $1 and start making basic, super basic transactions. And then once you'll get comfortable, get in touch. So no, no, I think I mean yes, for sure. Start. That's super important, but don't wait. Like first of all, reach existing DeSci communities. There are tons of DeSci groups all over the world on Telegram, and that should be the first step. Just get in touch with the guys who are already in DeSci. So just Google for groups on Telegram, and then as soon as possible start use the wallet. It doesn't mean you have to trade or like put tons of money. You just have to have a wallet with enough funds to pay for several transactions. And that's
Why?
maybe the most important because if people are not used to use wallets, they are not in Web3. Uh, without interacting, without that just for me that UX that we have in Web3 that's much more convenient that we have in the regular Web2 world. I mean, I hate creating accounts on tons of different services. I forgot passwords. It's super inconvenient. While with wallets,
True.
it's much more convenient. So that's why people have to have like some funds on the wallet and use it on a daily basis. Use Web3 integrated services. Get used to use wallet. It's really, really convenient. It takes some time to do the
To learn,
translation.
to get
Yeah,
involved.
yeah, yeah. So to get involved, get in touch with DeSci communities and start using MetaMask. Create it and start use it. And if uh, those people don't know how to get that first dollar, find me online and I will send those first funds to pay for the gas. It's super easy to find me.
Okay, okay. And the last question, do you have an alpha for DeFi Latam
Alpha.
for our community?
Well, one of the projects that I'm working on is called the Hyper Design, and we are planning to launch an experiment with a continuous grants distribution distribution framework using conviction voting, and we'll start doing that in around 2-3 weeks, something like that. So there is an opportunity for projects to get some funds from that initiative and participate in the nice experiment with the new way how we identify the side projects. So that's part of the experiment. But to get all
What
the
kind of
information,
project?
DeSci projects.
But do you have a niche in particular in DeFi or
The projects would have to prove the community that they are DeSci projects. So it will be
Okay.
up to community to decide if a project is DeSci or not, because the overall DeSci field is so broad that I think it's not like we should give to all of them, but also sometimes it's really hard to figure out if it's DeSci or not. And as a part of the experiment, we have a part dedicated to identify eligibility of projects, but basically it will be a community vote. But more details on HyperDesai group, and yeah, that was the alpha.
Okay, okay. So follow him on social media. How I found?
Rod Mamin, Google knows me. Follow me on X or Twitter, on Instagram. My actual name is Rodion, and I'm using, sorry, on Telegram, and my nickname is Ionrod, IONROD. And also, just it's pretty easy to find me on the DeSci groups on Telegram,
Okay.
and or just use
Oh,
Google for Lunko, and you will find easily through Lunko my connections to me.
thank you so much, Rod.
Thank you so much for the interview.